All right. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get into some athletes and Christianity, where it stands. These two gentlemen here are great individuals. Jeff, you're associate pastor at First Baptist, correct?
Absolutely.
And Richie Hughes, you have a ministry too. You actually travel a lot and do a lot of stuff with churches. So, and both of you great athletes. I don't know.
That's way over.
That's in our minds. We think we are.
Well, we play golf together, so we at times. So it's a lot of fun. But right now, listeners, let's do one thing. Let's go through two quick things right now. Let's go through the weather again. We always get the weather out here for everybody, so let's do that real quick, and then we'll go to sports. All right, the weather today is going to be 73 and cloudy, and it feels like 73 right now. The high of 87, the low of 71. Tomorrow, it's going to be mostly cloudy, 87, with a 20% chance of rain. And tomorrow night, 71. We're going to have some thunderstorms tomorrow night, 80%. So, football, I don't know. Football is going to be a little iffy on that with some of your picks may change. Running game may be a better thing than a passing game. So, somebody pick some teams that pass, you may have a problem. And Saturday, 82 with 90% chance of rain. And that is your weather forecast for Whoop Radio. And now let's go to a little bit of sports. Guys, y'all give in here anytime you want to in sports. We got a little TBS. This is Braves, Richie. Braves Network. Get the tomahawk going. All right, National League. Let's go Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves is a game and a half up. Game and a half up over Philadelphia. The highest team right now is still Boston, guys. They have got a 70% winning percentage. They are 86 and 36. That's tough. What do y'all think about that?
Where are the Yankees?
The Yankees are 10.5 games behind Boston.
Things are getting tough up there, Northeast.
The Yankees are done. That's what the Yankees are.
You put a fork in them. They're cooked, aren't they? All right, yesterday's game. Let's go a little bit quick here. New York Mets 24, Philadelphia 4 in the first game. That's a football score. 24.
That sounds like I was pitching.
We had Chicago Cubs, a great game. Chicago Cubs 1, Pittsburgh 0. We had Washington over St. Louis 5-4. Colorado beat Atlanta 5-3. Now I'm going to get about a little bit of Atlanta with the pitcher throwing against the
we're
3 home runs.
We're going to make him disappear.
Yeah. All right. Then we had Philadelphia over New York Mets. The second game 9-6. So they split. They got beat 24, and then they came back and won 9-6, Jeff. What do you think about that? All right, and a little bit about sports here, too, guys. We got golf. Golf started. It had a three-way match. Bradley, Walker Valley, and Cleveland out at Chatham Valley. T.J. McKenzie fired a 1-under par at Chatham Valley. He's a sophomore. Yeah.
I play with T.J. every now and then.
Yeah, Bradley Central.
He's a great kid.
The medalist. Cleveland Raiders and the Barretts tied, and the Bears won the three-way meet. So congratulations to
there's a lot of good young golf in this town.
Yeah. Now let's go a little bit of volleyball here. The Barretts battle the Hurricanes to the bitter end, guys. Here we go at the end. The Hurricanes won the battle, but before not pushing up the wall to scrap a bunch of Barretts, they had to go in a overtime game, I guess you call it, on a match. Richie, you know about?
Yeah, they went to the fifth set. My daughter was there, so. Yeah. Barretts took them all the way to the end, but they couldn't pull it out at the end.
I think the Barretts have had to play the Cleveland, East Hamilton, and Walker Valley 3 in a row here.
Yeah,
the volleyball schedule's tough.
Yeah, and they I think Tuesday night they lost to Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken.
They play a lot of games in a short period of time.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
They sure do. That season's not very long, is it?
About 45 days.
Yeah.
I guess the recovery factor's not that high.
They got a lot of players.
Oh, yeah.
Rotate a lot of people in.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's your sports for Whoop Radio, and we got a caller already. Caller, you're live on Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Good morning, Jeff and Tom.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, guys, I reckon I'm 1-1 right now. I picked Meigs County to beat Sweetwater. They run all over them, but I lost the Walker Valley game, though. I shouldn't have picked Walker Valley.
Walker Valley, yeah.
Meigs County won.
Meigs County won, so I got that. But, so
last score I heard, they was losing 47-0.
47-0. Okay, I didn't hear that. All right. Meigs County played last night.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to
Meigs
mark
County's
up.
tough. In fact, I read a little Murphy Fair, who's the guru, if you will, of high school football, and he was talking about the Meigs County team going to be go a long way in the playoffs.
Really? All right.
Should have went to the state championship last year, but I think that game they was overconfident in it. But I actually picked Meigs County to win the state championship last year.
All right. How do you think Bradley, Walker Valley, and Cleveland's going to turn out this year? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I hope you do, but I don't believe they will.
All right. All right. All right. You got any questions for our in-studio guest, Jeff and Richie?
Well, I don't know if I know the guys or not.
Oh, they're graduated Bradley High School now. 82, right? 82, 83?
84.
84.
I graduated 82.
82, 84.
84.
Yeah. And both of them went on and played careers in college. And
When they first had a Cleveland High School, and I played Bobby Scott, but
Bobby Scott.
my cousin.
Bobby Scott, coach.
No, this was before their time. He played 61.
Who's Steve
All right.
Sloan?
My cousin played with Steve Sloan. His number was 78. His name was John Hinkle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
That's good.
All right. All right, then. Well, we appreciate the input.
We got 5 games to go, so we'll probably find out tonight who maybe. I don't think it's supposed to. I heard the rain's not supposed to come in at 6 o'clock this evening, so maybe we'll get it in. I hope so.
I hope so. That's going to change. I believe it'll change the gameplay. Would you think, if you were coach?
Yeah, well, not on Cleveland's got artificial turf, so it's not going to be muddy there, but I believe it will be slick.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. We appreciate you. Okay.
Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Now
He's
we
2-0.
start up.
I believe you're 2-0 also.
2-0.
2-0. No, I think the Bullet
I'm-
was 1-1. He said
1-1.
he picked Walker Valley last night. So
Shut
what
your
was
mouth.
Tom Cass? What is Tom Cass?
I am 1-1. I had Meigs, but I picked Walker Valley. So
See, Tom,
I'm
you
1-1.
you did again. You did the politically correct city councilman. You're protecting your city council position. See, Jeff and I.
Wait a minute now. You got to look at who I picked for Bradley and Farragut.
Well, I see that, but you protected your daughter's school, and I appreciate that because Jeff and I, we went with the head, not the heart.
Okay.
And I wish we could pick with the heart, but we both picked Farragut over our school, but
Yeah.
we did pick Chattanooga Central.
I believe that Richie just called us heartless.
I didn't call us heartless. It was a struggle. It's a struggle to ever pick against your alma mater. Ever.
Well,
Ever.
I'm going to tell you right now, Meigs County's got a great team. And he's right. I believe they're going to go a long ways in the playoffs.
All right.
That's upset.
Anybody else you can see in our area that may go quite a ways? You say Meigs County, but how about Polk?
Polk County's much better. Rich and I were talking about Polk County yesterday. You know, have you ever been to a game at Polk County before?
I have.
And they get that smoke going. They cook that food. Man, I'll tell you something. You can smell it all over the valley. I'll tell you something.
And that wasn't the Mercy Tabernacle on fire, right?
No.
That's the kind of smoke we're talking
I'm
about.
tell you right now, that food is unbelievable.
Hey, and the view of that mountain, that new school in Polk, it's not new anymore, but when you sit at Polk County and you got that mountain backdrop and you got that smoked barbecue, that's a great high school football environment.
Yeah.
And they get up there and start getting those smokers out about.
So they tailgate.
They get out
Oh, my
Thursday.
stars.
Yeah.
If you want just some good food, go up there on Friday night. Take
They get out
Denise up,
Thursday.
take Denise up there on Friday.
Does it cost me anything?
I don't know about that. Go up there. Say, Denise, I'm going to take you to a nice restaurant and take her to Polk County football game.
All right. I may do
It's
that.
fun. You'll
I'll tell
enjoy
you.
that.
I tell you, does Bradley and does Bradley do that now in the high
Absolutely.
school? I mean, do they have a tailgate?
Travis Adams could be
yes.
one of the best cookers. I told Travis he need to open a restaurant.
Travis Adams does his own rubs, his own everything, and they cook it, and you can tailgate out there at the baseball field.
Yeah.
They got tables set up. It's really nice. It's really good, too.
It's
Some of
Rachel,
the best.
my wife Rachel, she always gets on Travis and she's ready for football season. Not necessarily just for the football game, but for his barbecue. Woo!
All right.
Swanee.
It's
Yeah.
excellent.
Well, Walker Valley, I know Tracy Pierce. He pulls his Winnebago up there. I mean, he's got a motorhome and pulls it out and sets a whole spread up and everything. It's a fabulous thing.
I tell you what, these men, They have this thing about cooking, I think.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
little
Well, they like
sides.
to do their own concoction of rubs, as they call
I
it.
think we ought to have
Their own
instead
sauce.
instead of picking just the football games, we ought to go and have a taste thing and see who has the best.
A tailgate
Who has
winner.
Taste
Who has
of the
the best?
county.
Absolutely.
How about a taste of the county? We'll go to Walker Valley, Bradley, and Cleveland and see who
Yes.
has the best tailgate parties.
All right, let's do that
Come on.
then.
We
That's
can
what-
do
Let's
that.
do that. Maybe we.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. We'll get together and get Jeff, and we'll go around and we'll rate who's got the best tailgate and give them an award at the end of the season.
You know, on ESPN a long time ago, they used to, I think, Blackledge and a couple of guys,
Yeah.
they used to go to like the game of the week was in Knoxville. They would go to Litton's or wherever, and they'd taste what's the best restaurant in the town.
Blackledge always eats good.
I guarantee it.
Todd Blackledge
Don't
eats
you
good.
remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, I mean, they still. And now on game day, they bring the food to Herb Street, and all those guys are live on the air. They're sitting there eating.
That'll-
Desmond Howard.
I'll tell you, that'll set you free.
Ooh, put you where you ought to be.
I guarantee it.
As our friend
Well,
used to
Tommy,
say.
what do you think? You're at 1-1. Rich and I are 2-0.
I know, 2-0.
Don't
And
be
poor
nervous.
Jeff. Poor Jeff is 0-2.
Jeff Miller.
Yeah, he's 0-2.
That's why he didn't show today.
no,
He snuck out of here, didn't he?
He did. Well, he had a thing to do with his mother. His wife is out of town in Birmingham, Alabama, going some classes, and so he had to take little Maybe, their daughter, to Silverdale. That's a good school too. Silverdale's a good
It
school.
is a good school, but I think Jeff's using that as an excuse not to come in here 0-2.
But you never know. He might show up after he drops her off. I'd be careful with that. He may bring a big old stick in here and be ready to whoop somebody. But I don't know. It's early in the season right yet. So then we're going to have Tennessee. Well, when Tennessee starts playing, they're going to be in the mix.
Well, I tell you what. Let's go back just real quick, like
Okay.
three teams: Bradley, Cleveland, Walker Valley. It's a rebuilding year. A lot of those guys. I mean, especially Bradley lost 20-something seniors, a lot of starters, and Cleveland's they've been practicing real hard and getting ready for the upcoming season. They got a lot of speed, and then Walker Valley had to replace the quarterback and Gibson and the wide receiver.
Westfield.
Yeah, the wide
Zeke
receiver is
Westfield.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he was.
And
Yeah.
so the schools, I think, this year in our town are good, but they have a lot of rebuilding to do, if you will.
Well, the bar has been set so high. Bradley and Cleveland for forever have always been very competitive, very good. Walker Valley's had some good years, and you don't replace a Colton Gibson and Zeke Westfield. Well, Walker Valley, that's one of the best pass catch combos in state history, not just in county history.
Absolutely.
So you can't replace those two. But when you start talking about a schedule like they've got, Bradley's got a gauntlet going up to Knoxville tonight, but Farragut's very, very good.
Eddie Courtney is the coach at Farragut. He's one of the greatest coaches in Tennessee history, and great guy. He was a GA for Bill Battle at Tennessee. Then Ken Sparks, who went to Carson Newman, coached at Farragut, and he replaced Sparks. He's been there forever. He fought through cancer. He's had a lot of issues as far as health-wise concerned. But a great guy, strong Christian man, great coach. You always know when you go to Farragut, they're very disciplined, great athletes. They won a state championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, they did.
Highest
That's
classification. Yeah, they're good.
All right, we got a caller. Caller, you're live on the Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Mr. Jeff Miller, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, and despite my record so far, I'm not too ashamed to admit that I'm 0-2.
I'm right behind you, Jeff.
But I'm going to have to do some more study. You guys have a wealth of knowledge going on. I'm going to have to get on my game. I was going back to the years of the Sweetwater Mafia. I picked
Oh, man.
Mike Thomason and Andy Butler, that crew, I was going back and thinking that they were going to be a little bit better than they were. But Meigs County, they hit a buzzsaw with Meigs County.
They did. They sure did. And Walker Valley with Central hit a buzzsaw also.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody that does a little more preseason reading could have seen that, but I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Again, I guess I have some old prejudices from the Purple Pounders that we used to be.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Purple Pounders.
Oh, I'll tell you. Hey,
And they Central won 40-28, guys. 40-28.
That's a high-scoring game,
Oh,
isn't it?
man, it is.
Yeah.
Well, because, Jeff, you don't know if you realize that the head coach at Chattanooga Central was the defensive coordinator at Bradley a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
He's a really pretty good coach. And so he's turned that thing around down there at Chattanooga Central. In Walker Valley, boy, they have had to replace that, quarterback and the wide receiver, which I think was maybe the best combination in the state last year.
Well, I remember the Purple Pounders when Timmy played, my brother. Richie, you probably on the field. I was down there, he graduated, and there's a runner going through, and he's a strong safety, the last one, so he goes for his legs, and the guy kicks him, and he had the open face mask, kicks him. I remember going over there, and he said, I broke my nose, and he come over there, and that nose was like this. It was collapsed, and it was like
Wow.
this.
Yeah.
He went back in, though, but he had to get it straightened out. No,
You didn't reach down there and straighten it out.
I didn't. I was standing on the other side of the fence. I was a spectator, and he turned around and said, I think I broke my nose. It was just like this, and I was like, holy cow. The guy actually kicked him through the face mask. The foot actually hit him through the face mask.
That's true. I remember that. Yeah, Timmy was a great athlete, was a great football player, and had some good times with him. He was tough as nails.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, you got anything else?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for coming in the studio today. I'm enjoying the show. You guys keep it up.
All right.
Have
Jeff.
a good one.
Have a good weekend, brother.
Okay.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward. I'll let you say that. We're going to take that away from you. That's your saying. So, anyway, appreciate you, Jeff. I'll see you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, guys, let's go to a little video here. Jeff, you said you were getting a little music. You were going up to UT, so I've got a video here you're probably going to like. You've probably already seen it already. So let's go to this. This is 2018-19 Tennessee Vols hype video. I say hype again with the Pruitt Air Begins. Have you seen this one?
I don't know if I.
All right, y'all need to watch this one. You need to get online and look at this one too, bud. This will get you pumped up for Tennessee football. Here we go. Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Let me tell you a little story about how I was raised. Everyday work, everyday pray. God, family, friends, yeah, everybody sins. I win and never quits, and a quitter never wins. Help folks in need, don't fall for greed. A jealous man is weak, so think before you speak. If you love them, let them know. If you hate, let it go. Fast can be fun, but sometimes you need slow. God is all good, the devil is so real. So listen up, y'all, cause this is how I feel.
I won't back up, I don't back down. I've been raised up to stand my ground. Take my job, but not my guns. Tax my check till I ain't got none. Except for the good Lord up above. I answer to no one.
See, I'm a flying, Bible-toting son of a gun. Yeah, I'm hell on the heart, just a rebel on the run. Scared, don't know it. Fear, don't feel it. The truth is the light. Sometimes you gotta fight. Good beats bad, right beats wrong. I'm a ballroom preacher, and this is my song. I'm climbing for the top, representing for the country. I'm the people's champ, right out the deer camp. Shotgun toter, Republican voter, Hank Jr. supporter. Let's protect our border. To hell with anyone who don't believe in the USA. Cause this is what I say.
I won't back up, I don't back down. I've been raised up to stand my ground. Take my job, but not my guns. Tax my check till I ain't got none. Except for the good Lord up above. I answer to no one.
Smoky Manning back to throw across the middle, pass complete. Rolled out of the 35 to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey touchdown on play number 1.
Or love me if you can. If the truth is what you want, then you found your man. I ain't backing down, I ain't backing up. If you think like I think, then crack it on up.
I won't back up, I don't back down. I've been raised up to stand my ground. Take my job, but not my guns. Tax my check till I ain't got none. Except for the good Lord.
Boy, if that don't get your blood pumping, I don't know what does, Jeff.
Son, I'm telling
Richie,
you.
huh?
Oh,
I'm ready to go
come
out
on.
there and put the pads on. Let's hit somebody.
That video makes me nervous. I'll tell you.
There's some good memories on that video.
It is.
Well, you think my family, my brother was served on Coach Major's staff, and then I was on Coach Phil. I got the chance to start the chaplain program in such a way at Tennessee with Coach Foreman for 4 or 5 years, and then my oldest son was on Kiffin, Dooley, and Coach Jones' staff for a semester, and then my youngest son plays for Butch, now Coach Pruitt. So basically, my family covers on working with those staff since Majors. Every coach since Coach Major. So when I watch that type of video and I think about the memories of that video and those players and getting to spend time with all those players, there's a lot of great young men and a lot of coaches that invested in great young men. I was talking to Richie about this yesterday. I talk to parents all the time that ask me about playing Division I football and playing at University of Tennessee. And folks don't realize the amount of work and the effort and just the mental and the physical wear that it takes place on those young men. They see them on Saturday, but they got after the game on Saturday, they got rehab on Sunday, and then they got algebra, they got marketing, they got accounting, they got whatever on Monday. I mean, that thing just goes, and thank goodness that University of Tennessee has a lot of people around those athletes to help them recover physically and get ready mentally for the classroom. And the University of Tennessee does a great job in all facets dealing with a college athlete.
Yeah, well, that's, we got our tickets this year, too. We got our tickets. And also, we said this the other day, people, if you get your tickets, I think Jeff is going to start dumpster diving. They actually put them in a book, Jeff. I don't know if you know it or not. You get a book usually, and the tickets you get separate. This time the tickets are inside the book in the back. So if you get the book of Tennessee, it talks about Tennessee, the parking, where to go, and all that stuff. The tickets are in the back. Oh, and I guess people have been throwing them away because Denise with Ben's got them and gave them to Dan, and she was waiting for the tickets and found out that they were on the book, so she had to call them and bring it back. So I think a lot of people were throwing them away, looking at it and just tossing away, waiting on the tickets. So if you get out there and dumpster dive, you might be able to find some Tennessee tickets out there on their book.
I want to tell you something funny. Rachel and I bought Kevin Brooks' house when we moved into town. They moved. Yeah. And Kevin Brooks is obviously the new mayor of town.
Yeah.
And so for some reason, we still get Mr. Brooks's mail periodically.
Yeah.
And yesterday in the mail, there's a special envelope and 2 Tennessee tickets from Missouri. So, Brooks, if you're looking for your 2 tickets, I got
It's going to cost you to deliver them, right?
That's exactly
But you had to pay for the house. You're going to make it up a little bit.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour. Richie Hughes is going to call in. Also, he's our movie review guy, so he'll take about 10 minutes or so. We'll ask questions. We usually have him on at the bottom of the hour. So for movies, like it's going to rain this weekend, he'll give a preview. He's going to do a movie, and after that, we can catch up. But until then, let me ask you this. You guys are both very knowledgeable in football. There's a big game this week tonight, too. Maryville at Knoxville Catholic. What do y'all pick on that? That's that's going to be a tough game. 2
of the best in their own divisions, I guess.
Yeah.
I have a hard time picking against Maryville just simply because I see them every year. But those 2 teams they're going to put some points on the board tonight.
Well, there's Catholic has several, especially on the offensive line. They have several high SEC Division I players. Maryville's has that system for years, and Maryville's tough. Maryville has always been tough. Catholic is tough. I think it'll be a good game. A lot of college coaches will be there. I'll be around that environment, and I think Maryville will win that game.
Think Maryville? You same way, Maryville?
I think Maryville's system is about as tight as I've seen, from the execution standpoint. I believe the 3 of us could go up there and fit right into that system. That system is on autopilot.
It's interesting because Coach Quarles was there for years.
Yeah.
And he went to Furman, and he's kind of building that system. He's an offensive coordinator at Furman, and they did it well last year. And Quarles is a great game coach. He can see he's unbelievable as far as watching the field. But Catholic has some great offensive linemen.
They do. Butch Jones' son, does he still play for him?
I think he plays wide receiver. I think it's his last year.
Last year,
Yeah,
okay.
Right. And the kid who was the big offensive lineman that went to Georgia,
Okay.
Cody kid,
Yeah.
his brother is an offensive lineman there. He's really highly recruited.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you this. I want to ask both of you this, and y'all know about something like this. Tennessee this year. How many wins you think they're gonna have this year? In your mind, what's a winning season for Tennessee this year? I know they're rebuilding a new coach, but
Optimistically, a winning season is a winning season, as far as I'm looking at it.
over 500.
Well, I think expectations are always so high, and but at the end of the day, if we win more than we lose this year in Jeremy Pruitt's first year, getting into the recruiting game late like he was, he just got the job late, I think we're very fortunate to have him after the debacle of all the other coaches that did not take it or the Schiano mess. So, 7-5, if we were to pull an upset and go 8-4, I think that would be a huge, huge season.
Alabama's at home. Jeff, how about yourself? What do you think? What's your record you're picking?
That's an interesting conversation for me. I think that Tennessee is going to be much, much better than what people think. I think Coach Pruitt has done a great job. I think Fitzgerald, the strength and conditioning guy, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Coach Pruitt's got a great staff. We're going to be much better than what people think. I think we'll have way more than a winning record.
Winning record. All
Way
right.
more than a winning record.
All right, guys, and we got a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on the Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom. This is Tom.
Hey, Tom, this is Richard Hughes.
Hey, Richard Hughes, how are you? Here's our movie review, guys. I've got two guests in our studio, Richie Hughes and Jeff Lovingood. Jeff is out of the studio, Richard, so they might ask you a few questions, but tell us about movie review. What can we see this weekend?
Hey, Tom, go Vols.
Go Vols! There you go. How about yourself? What do you pick the Vols this year on the season record? Real quick.
It would be a great record. We want to be, of course, bowl eligible. First thing we want to do is beat a good West Virginia team, and then we got to beat the Gators. Florida.
Yeah.
Love to see them beat Florida.
That's at Florida, correct?
I think
Is it at Florida?
Yeah, no, it's Knoxville.
It's in Knoxville? Okay, I got tickets
We're
to
gonna,
that.
hey,
Hey,
we're going to beat the game.
I'm not going to.
We're going to beat.
We're not going to do this, sorry.
You want on the record?
I'll go on
We're
record.
gonna beat Dan Mullen.
We're going to beat I'm not a fan of the Gators.
All right. All right, Richard, let's get to you real quick and tell us what you saw and what our listeners can go see this weekend because it's supposed to rain, so this would be a good time to get a movie in.
Tom, it's been slow movie week last couple of weeks.
Okay.
I did see one this week that probably a lot of people will not see. It's a political film by Spike Lee called Black Klansman.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen any of Spike. Spike Lee is he's a very good African American director. He's made a lot of good films over the years.
Yeah.
Genre films, a lot of political films.
Yeah, a little controversy at times.
Absolutely. He made a great film about race relations back in '89, Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
This is his latest political film on race. I like the film. A lot of critics are calling it a masterpiece or overrating it, in my opinion. I liked it. Basically, the plot of the movie is very interesting, Tom. 1972, Ron Stallworth was the first black officer hired by the Colorado Springs Police Department in Colorado. Ron Stallworth then made contact with a local Ku Klux Klan group there in Colorado Springs. They were advertising in the newspaper. You can believe back in '72, they were advertising in the local paper. He made contact with the local Klan over the telephone. This is, African American, sounding white. He struck up a conversation with the local Klan. He even had a phone contact with David Duke, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan.
Correct.
Based on his phone contact with the Klan, he used his Jewish partner, Flip Zimmerman, to join the local Ku Klux Klan, to infiltrate the group for years. So a very unusual story. You basically have a black man that made contact with the Ku Klux Klan and his Jewish partner, using his name, Ron Stallworth, joined the group and infiltrated the group. So that part of the film was very good as a police procedural, as a docudrama. I really liked the movie. It has great performances. Ron Stallworth is played by John David Washington, Tom, who's Denzel Washington's son. I didn't know that until after the movie.
Huh.
He's very good in this movie. He is, in my opinion, he's the non-political center of the film. It's a very, in my opinion, it's too overt, too strident in his political views. He's very one-sided, Spike is in this movie. But the center of the movie, this guy, he just, as depicted in the film, he just wants to be a police officer, a good police investigator. You had the Black Power, you have the Black Panther movement there in Colorado Springs. You've got the Klan there. And he's the moral center of the movie. He's very good. He comes off as a very decent, humane person who, like I said, he just wants to be a good police officer.
Right.
The beginning of the film, you got Alec Baldwin playing a white supremacist who goes on the screed for about 5 minutes. The end of the film, you got actual footage of Charlottesville from last year. You remember the violent fiasco in Charlottesville?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, got run over by a car. Individual got run by a car, right?
Yeah, a young woman was killed.
Yeah.
That whole thing's been very controversial politically since that time. My opinion, I didn't like the first or the last of the film. It was just obviously. I think those parts of the film diminished the really interesting part of the middle of the film, the plot of the film. Spike Lee's trying to connect 1972 with today, 2017, as far as race relations. I understand the points he's making, but I know I'm a white man, but I don't agree with all the connections he was trying to make.
Yeah.
But, and like I said, a lot of people won't see the film, but it'll piss a lot of people off, Tom, watching this movie that don't agree with his political views.
Right.
But it's got really good performances in it, especially the lead character. And really, it shows how ridiculous and dangerous groups like the Ku Klux Klan really are.
All right.
It shows their ritual initiations. It shows the cross burning.
Yeah.
So he ridicules the group, but you also come away realizing how dangerous. It's not just white nationalist groups or Ku Klux Klan groups. It's all these militia groups that are known throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
They're very small, Tom. They don't represent most American views, but they're out there.
Yeah, just a minority, right? It's not a majority, but a minority.
It's a very small minority.
Okay.
It's a faction of Americans,
Yeah.
but they're very dangerous. I'll leave you one thing. After I saw the movie, I always liked Oliver Stone movies. He was another director who made a lot of controversial movies. Remember JFK?
Correct. Yeah.
He directed a film back in 1988 called Talk Radio. It was based on a play. Back in 1984, a radio personality, Alan Burr, he was Jewish, liberal, outspoken radio personality. He got on the wrong side of a white nationalist group in Denver, Colorado, where he lived, called the Order. Based on a true story, Tom, and he was assassinated by the group. It happened in 1984. Stone did a film in 1988 about it. Very few people probably seen that movie. It's one of his lesser known, lesser seen movies. It's called Talk Radio.
Okay.
It's very good. If you ever have a chance, or the viewers have a chance to see Talk Radio, in my opinion, it's better than a Spike Lee film.
Okay. All right. Now, Spike Lee film. The Spike Lee film. What's the film again?
Spike Lee film is called Black Klansman.
Black Klansman. And how would you rate that rating? What would you give that rating for? If you had to rate it.
I'd say it's a B. It's a well done.
It's a B.
Film for what it is. I think there'll be people that'll be turned off by the political views of the film.
Yeah.
It'll be a lesser grade. But for me, I like Spike Lee movies. It's a B, Tom.
All right, and it's something that kids can go see. You recommend that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, the listeners know that. All right. All right.
There's not a lot of violence in it, but this is a film for adults.
Okay. All right. Well, Richard, we appreciate you, man. We really do, and thanks for your input and calling in. Richard Hughes, our movie critic for Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom. And Richard, anything else before I let you go? I got one other question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. Cleveland and Ray County, who do you pick tonight?
Oh, I always have to go with the Raiders.
Okay.
Raiders, Tom.
They're playing at Cleveland, so you need to get out and watch them then. They'll be out there on that new field.
I hope they have a good year.
All right. Appreciate you, Richard, and thanks a lot. Okay. All right, Richard Hughes, our movie review. You got it on that? The new movie out, and
I tell you what, two Richard Hugheses around me.
two Hugheses.
That makes me
it's
kinda
on that
nervous.
part.
Taking over the world.
Well, guys, I was going to go to I guess
too.
music, but I'm not going to do that with y'all in the studio. It's gotten so good. I'm not going to cut it off, and I want to continue our conversation we had. And last night on Facebook, we actually you got too much.
Yeah,
This is yours here.
I'm
Go up
down.
and down.
Yeah, I'm down.
This is. Do you better? Is that all right?
That's good.
Is that good?
It was good. It's all good.
Yours good?
It was all good. That's
Okay.
good. That's really
All right.
good.
And
Stereo.
this is what I wanted to get into. We talked a little bit briefly about this. Both of y'all were both experts in this, and I'd like to get y'all's input. Christ in the locker room. Is Christianity still a player? I mean, what's your thought? When somebody start off here, is Christ in the locker room, and is Christianity still a player in our sports?
I think, to say Christ is not in the locker room would be kind of goofy, because I think he's omnipresent. So in essence, yes, he's in the classroom, he's in the locker room. I don't think you could take Jesus out of anywhere.
Yeah.
But the fact of it is, and I think if we're going to be a great player, that's why Jason Witten was a friend of mine, and I was a chaplain in Tennessee. We used to talk about, if I'm going to be great on the field physically, and I'm going to know what I'm going to do mentally, then I got to be right spiritually. And so the fact of it is, if I'm going to be all I can be athletically, which is physical and mental, then I got to be in tune spiritually. And I think yes, especially, I'll tell you something, in this community, as far as doing it right and getting the players involved and the players leading out like they should with their football teams, and leading out spiritually, is the player involvement is pretty strong.
Yeah. Richie?
Well, I agree with Jeff. The Bible says he's omnipresent. So the bottom line is, you can't take Christ out of anything that we've tried. Trying to take prayer out of schools. You take prayer out, but you don't take God out.
Yeah.
You want to take In God We Trust off our currency. You can take that off the physical penny or nickel or dime, but you can't take God out of our currency. You can't remove God, because God created all of this. So in the locker room and the politically correct system and all the, my daughter prayed at Bradley last year before the football game, and the ACLUs wanted to, file a lawsuit because somebody recorded it and posted it on Facebook. So, religious freedom, it's not, our founding fathers created us with that in mind, to have the ability to do all that. And I agree with Jeff. You're not ever going to take God out of the locker room. You're not ever going to take Christ out of the locker room. You can mute some of the, prayers. You can mute some of the opinions. You can mute some of the testimonies. But what lies in a man's heart eventually is going to come out.
Yeah. All right. And you listen to Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom, and guest studio. We've got special guest Richie Hughes and Jeff Lovingood. You bring up a point there, as far as school prayer. Jeff, you've got a great story. I don't know if Richie's heard it, but you've got a great story on school prayer. You were put through the ringer on this.
Yeah, I
was saying. Have you heard this one, Richie?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. I think our listeners like to hear
I was
it.
one single guy deposed by the ACLU for 5.5 hours. I think as long as we have tests in school, we're going to have prayer. And so,
Good point.
I think that, because I know one thing. When I was getting ready to take a test, I sure was praying, God help me with this test. I think in the 80s, I know this, in the 80s, the Supreme Court passed the Religious Law Act for students. And so students have a lot of freedom, spiritual freedom in schools by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has not ruled on religious laws, if you will, for teachers. So when does a teacher become an employee of the state? Because they are teachers of the state, if you will, for a public school system. And so when do they lose their religious freedom, and when do they gain, when they have to be on their job, if you will,
And there's only been, I think, about 13 states that have ruled on religious law acts, if you will, for teachers, and Tennessee is one of them. And so we went through a situation in Sumner County, and where the ACLU and someone had sued, if you will, Sumner County school system. And we went through a deposition for a good period of time. And from that case, the state of Tennessee, I believe, from that case, passed the Religious Law Act for teachers. And but the Supreme Court still has not ruled on that. But if you have one, they did rule on the club access, if you will, in the 90s. So if I have one type of club, I've got to have them all. FCA is a huge role in this community, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
And so I tell you, we have a blessed community. It's amazing how many and how much a student can do in relationship to their spirituality at a school, as long as they don't interrupt what's happening in the school.
Yeah, well, Jeff, tell us a little bit more about your situation, your deposition, because I think listeners like to hear this. I thought it was when they were questioning you, they were asking certain questions.
Yes, they were.
And I think the way you reacted to it was just genius.
Well, what happened was, when you have club meetings, a student has to invite the speaker to the club meeting. And they had asked me how many times that I had spoken to an FCA group in Sumner County, and I had shared with the lady from the ACLU. I shared with her that I'd spoken numerous times, and then she asked, "Well, when you spoke in Sumner County, have you ever seen a teacher there?" And I said, "Well, they have to be there because they have to make sure discipline's okay with the club, and every club has to have a sponsor." And so she asked me, "Well, when you were speaking and then you prayed, did you see the teacher bow their head to pray?" And what she was trying to lead to was the teacher, in bowing their head to pray, was condoning religion. Well, and I said, "Ma'am," I said, "the fact of it is, I'm looking at you right now, and I'm praying for you right now. My head does not demean what's happening in my heart. I can pray with you. I can pray for you without bowing my head and closing my eyes, And so the fact of it is, if I was to look up and say the woman's bowing her head and she's praying, she might be asleep, and then I don't know her heart. Only the lady, the teacher, knows her heart, and the Lord knows her heart. So I'm not God, and I can't tell you if that lady was praying. But it's an interesting battle. But the fact of it is, students have unbelievable rights, and in the state of Tennessee, teachers have more rights than what they realize.
Okay. All right. Richie, FCA, and what Jeff was talking about alluded to that. I mean, you're a big component of FCA. I know Jeff is, but
we are.
You're a big supporter of that. So
we both do a lot with FCA, and FCA is one of the leading groups that still can get into the schools and do some things. And you got to remember that all this stuff that takes place is voluntarily led.
Yeah.
There's nobody shoving anything down anybody's throat. I will say this, though. I've done some research. I just looked it up again. There's a gentleman named William Jennis who is a professor at Cal State Long Beach. And I think when you say Cal State educational system, you don't equate that to being the most conservative view.
Right.
But he did a study on what happened when we took prayer out of school back in the 60s. The Supreme Court made a ruling on that. And since 1965, in the early 60s, when prayer was removed from schools, the original thought of removing prayer was not to violate anybody's rights, but it was also to increase academia, separation of church and state, to focus on academic achievement. Since that time, what has happened is illegal drug use is up 350%. Here's the one that gets me, though, and this is the advocates that are anti-prayer in schools. Since prayer has been removed from school, violent crimes in school is up 2,400%. So we try again to take God out, and we let guns in. So, if we had an opportunity for kids to start their day with, like we did at Bradley High School in our days, with a prayer, something positive to start your day that they can't do anymore. And here's the interesting fact with that. In the 60s, when we were praying in schools, America was number one educationally amongst all test scoring. As of right now, today, we're 15th among the industrialized nations of the world. So, and our ACT score, get this, our ACT scores have dropped over 10% since we've removed prayer from school. So I think, like Jeff, as long as there's tests, you're going to have prayer in school. Where do you go if you're a kid who's ostracized and you're getting bullied?
Yeah.
I mean, who do you talk to? Man, wouldn't it be great if you could at least pray and believe that there's a God that hears you when you're hurting? And I just think that we've deviated so far from what our country was created to be. And, we do a lot in schools. We do a lot with FCA. And I think kids need God. They need a God they can talk to ongoing. As Jeff said, you don't have to bow your head. I pray when I'm driving. My eyes are wide open. But
Yeah.
Bob says pray without ceasing. It's just an ongoing communication with God. And the people we love, we communicate with. We talk. The three of us talk 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Right.
Because we love each other.
Yeah.
We talk to our wives all throughout the day. Well, I believe that's how it ought to be with God. It's an ongoing communication. Pray without ceasing.
And, you're talking about athletics and spirituality.
Right.
And it's interesting to me when I was a chaplain for Coach Former at Tennessee. And it's so neat that coaches and leaders realize the need for spirituality and someone to connect with players in a spiritual way, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for the recruits to understand that, hey, there's a physical part that you're going to prepare my sons physically, and there's a mental part, and he's going to go to school. But it's important for that mother, that grandmother, that father to understand that there's a spiritual component too, and it's important for parents to know that they're investing in my kids spiritually.
There again, Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom. We've got 2 special guests in the studio with us, Richie Hughes and Jeff Lovingood. Gentlemen, and call in 614-5553 if you've got a question for him. Very knowledgeable on these, is Christ in the locker room. And they both say that he is. He's around all the time. You can't take Christ out of anything. FCA, we talked a little bit about it. I just want to touch this basis. High school has an FCA. Does middle school have FCA?
I'll tell you
Does
what.
the elementary school have FCA?
I know them. I think one of the biggest FCAs in the state would be in the middle school. Coach Yates.
How about that? How about elementary schools?
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
They're the innocent, the God's children. I mean, that's where you can really inspire them to move that way.
Right. I don't know if, and that's just the ignorance on my part.
Yeah.
I don't know if elementary schools have club meetings.
Yeah. It'd be great to have.
Yes.
I bet you have a lot of turnout. I guarantee you would have a ton of turnout, and parents too.
Right.
Now, I want to get about that a little bit, guys. I want to skip into this. We see on TV and actions all the time of parents' actions at ball games. I mean, we've seen it. Fathers fighting on the field, mothers pulling each other down. I mean, at what point do we draw the line? I mean, where is it we're losing this thing? We're talking about Christ himself and treat others like you want to be treated. But, I mean, what's going on? What's going on with our world? Why are we going this direction?
I think, from my standpoint, it's not just at ball games. It's in the workplace. It's at the mall. We had a shooting at Inman Street 2 nights ago.
Correct.
We have
nobody got hurt. Nobody got no damage. I want to make sure everybody knows
shots and multiple fled the scene.
Yeah.
And again, thank God nobody got hurt. But we've got an angry society. It's just anger. And I'm at most peace when I'm away from the news. It doesn't matter. You can watch the 3 cable news channels and watch one story and get 3 totally different views that you don't know what's true anymore. But they rise the anger within all of us, and I think we're at a really serious point. Richard's call was interesting to me because movies move us emotionally. I go to a movie for escape. You go to a movie to escape for 2 hours, whatever's going on, the stress in your life, whatever. That's what, and I believe movies and ice cream are the 2 things that will survive any downfall financially.
Donuts.
I go to the movies for the popcorn. I tell you right now.
You go to the movies to kind of get away from it for 2 hours. And when you go to a movie and it just incites you and it upsets you and it's politically based, that defeats the whole purpose to me of going to the movies. And I believe that we're just living in an angry society. There's so much anger right now. And I think that's what provokes. It may not be the action on the field that took place. They came to the game angry before they ever got there.
Yeah, hold that point right there, Jeff. We'll get with you. We got a caller. Caller, you're live on Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Good morning, Rick Michael here. How are you?
Ricky Michaels, how about
Rock star.
Yeah, I tell you what, you dropped your granddaughter off at Black Fox.
Yeah, just dropped her off about 10 minutes ago listening to you guys and didn't realize till just now you had the illustrious Richie Hughes and Jeff Lovingood.
Jeff Lovingood, yeah, and that's my fault. I should have made more announcements through the thing, but the discussion's going so well, I didn't want to break them off of it, so.
Yeah, that's cool. I normally miss the first half of the show and usually pick up about 25 till when I get back in the car leaving Black Fox. But I have a question for your panel there this morning. What is and I've not been involved in the FCA at all and was minutely involved in it back in high school for a short period of time. But what is the criteria for membership in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes when a person wants to join the club?
That's a great question. And, Ricky, I'm not going to reveal what you used to do to me in football practice. I won't tell anybody about the hits that you put on me when I was the scrub quarterback and you were the starting linebacker. But that's another story.
He's still having problems with his ankles already.
I told you, I'm still, all this anger's coming out 25, 30 years later. I'm still mad at Ricky. He was a headhunter.
Hey, I guarantee you, he'll be ready to put the pads on right now.
Ricky Michael would hurt you in high school football. He was a bad dude. But to answer your question, old buddy.
Richie, I apologize.
You were a great football player. The criteria is that the door is open to anyone, and it's the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, but it does not eliminate anybody, whether they're athletic, whether they're not, if they don't play any sport, if they hate sports. It's about sharing Jesus Christ amongst students. So there is it's totally inclusive. Nobody is not allowed. There is no criteria. You show up and hear the word.
Yes, and Robert Green. Go ahead, Rick.
Question, and let me clarify why I asked this question, because I saw back in my days in high school, and I won't name any names, but I saw people in leadership in the FCA were some of the same guys that were going out and getting drunk on the weekends and doing a lot of things, smoking weed and whatever. So my question about the criteria is should there not be some type of shouldn't you be a believer before you can be a representative in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
That's a great question, Rick. I think I agree with both you and Richie. One, Robert Green is the head guy in this region for FCA. I think probably it's like your church. It's whosoever will should come. And so the fact of it is the door should be open to anybody. But as far as leadership is concerned, I think they do have criteria, if you will, for being, one of the officers of FCA. It's like your church. Anybody's welcome in your church, but as far as being one of the pastors, probably there's some certain criteria.
I think what you're alluding to, too, Rick, is, back in the day we were all in FCA, and Dr. Nairn was such a great leader. I think some of the actions that you're speaking of may not have been known to the club sponsors and faculty representatives. There's some kids that can schmooze people, and from time to time that takes place, and I'm sure that's probably what happened with whatever you're referring to.
Because what they were doing was done on in private, private parties and riding around. But I've looked at my 1982 annual, and it's got a large picture in there of the FCA members. And I can, to this day, I can look and point to the ones that I knew that were partying and not living the lifestyle that was representative of FCA.
Right.
So, saying all that to say this, that there should be some type of criteria to be a member of the club, because if you are a member of the FCA, you're representing FCA. Is that not correct?
Yes, I think that's why I was just kind of referring it to. If you are in leadership, it's like you go to the church that I attend. I'm a pastor. Everybody walks with a limp. We're all kind of messed up in ourselves, and so the fact of it is, anybody's welcome in our church. But in essence, if you are a leader in the church, a pastor, whatever, you have some strong criteria to take that office, if you will.
Okay, well, let me ask this question. Not trying to be argumentative, just a good debate this morning. So in your church or in any church, if a open practicing homosexual comes in and starts attending the church, would they be granted membership if requested and not denouncing that lifestyle?
Well, they're pointing at me, Rick. You can't see it.
I'm not, but Jeff is. I don't have a dog in the race on this.
Here's what I believe, Rick, and we're all brothers and we all love each other. I believe the door to the church is open to all people. When you start talking about leadership and when you start talking about membership and when you start talking about people that are put in positions to lead others, I think that's where you have to make a delineation. And I agree with Jeff. We're all a mess. But I do believe that the ground is equal and the ground is level at the cross of Christ. And if God is no respecter of persons, he loves, believe it or not, Rick, he loves the murderer as much as he loves Billy Graham. And that's the beautiful thing about grace. Now, does that mean that you can continue to actively pursue a life of sin? I believe that we need to be trying our best to do what God's Word says to do. But I don't believe that a homosexual or a drug addict or a prostitute or anybody would not be allowed inside the church door. I don't believe that that person in the state that they're in mentally or spiritually should be placed into leadership. That's my personal opinion.
Well, that wasn't my question, though. My question was, would the drug addict or the practicing homosexual be allowed to gain membership in the church and be accepted as a full-fledged member representing the church without denouncing that lifestyle?
I think probably most churches, I think most churches have their own like bylaws or whatever that will stipulate, if you will, what is your role as a member and what are the qualifications of membership and certain lifestyles or whatever. Maybe some people have to give, have to tithe or whatever. Each church has the qualifications of membership, and I think their body has to come up with what are those stipulations. As far as like what you're saying or what Rich is saying is everybody's welcome, as far as in leadership concern or even membership concern. I think probably there would be some stipulations on membership for each church.
Well, the membership for the Church Universal is you're a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior.
Right.
And, that is what gets you included into the body of Christ. Now, the church itself can have its own bylaws and its own rules and its church covenants hanging on the wall. But, the question is, tying it back into FCA, if FCA is open, anybody can walk in, become a member of the club. We're not talking about leadership right now, but just anybody can walk in, whether they're a believer or not, whether they're an atheist, whether they're a drug addict, homosexual, and become a member of the FCA. I think there's something wrong with that picture. And it even ties into the church also. Yes, all people are welcome to the church to come and hear the gospel and be exposed to other Christians and to hear about Jesus Christ. But as far as membership and representing the church, there's some stipulations that have to be adhered to.
Well, I think
you can't just walk in and say, here I am, I'm gay, and I want to be a member of this church, and I want to start working with kids or whatever,
Well, I think it's a lot different at FCA than probably a church. I think membership is probably pretty cloudy at FCA as far as, who's coming. I think most students who come to FCA would think they're a member. I don't think there's like, you don't meet with a group of deacons or a group of people to get you.
There's no hazing or anything.
There might be hazing. But I think everybody's welcome. And so if people come to FCA, which you would want everybody to come, there's a difference in coming in membership and office, if you will. And I think what happens is people come to FCA, well, I'm a member of FCA, and there's no steps to membership at FCA. And that's what you're saying is, what are the steps to become a member? And probably there's not a steps in membership to a club at FCA at a school.
But there would be steps to membership at a church, Rick. I know the churches that I've been a part of, and I'm sure Jeff's church that way, they're all different, but there is a membership training. There's a training that you go through. There is a, this is what we believe, and we need you to sign off that you have a similar belief. You believe in this, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, FCA, to me, is not about membership. It's about an open door. Church membership, and as you use the word representation of a church, that's a little bit different. Even though the door's open to everybody, we're not going to put somebody up on stage that's not, well, we try not to. That's living a double life.
Yeah.
Come on,
Well,
Ricky Michael's coming on strong today.
Ricky, anything else? We appreciate your call.
Come on.
Well, I just enjoy the conversation, guys, and I've seen the church over the years, even from my youth. I was born in 1963, but I've seen the church weaken in its stance on sin. And we've gotten to the point where we've allowed anybody and anything to come in and be a part of the church and represent the church. And we've watered down the gospel to the point where we're ineffective anymore. So, guys, I just encourage anyone that's under the sound of my voice this morning to step back and say, hey, there is some stipulations to being a believer. There is some rules that I've got to abide by before, I can be considered a representative of Christ. And I think that's kind of where I was driving to, is that we've just flown the door wide open and said, everybody come on in, Jesus just loves everybody and everybody's going to heaven, which that's not the truth. We need to be telling the truth. And I appreciate the conversation this morning. I'm about to lose you because I'm getting out of distance of 99.
All right.
Come see me, Rick. I'm up at the hotel. Come have a cup of coffee with me. I'd love to see you.
Ricky, it was great hearing from you. I appreciate you listening, and old times back here in the studio. So have a great day, Rick.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. All right, Ricky Michaels, man. I tell you what, blast from the past you're talking about on that.
Wow, he would knock you into next week.
I'll tell you what, he would. He was something else on the ball player. He still is. He's strapped the pads on right now. I guarantee he'll still go at it.
I'm glad he came, because I'm sure not going to.
But
you never had to get hit by him.
Yeah.
I got
Listen, I played beside him every day for years.
But gentlemen, we're coming to the fastest hour in radio right now. We're on overtime. So I appreciate both of you guys. We got another caller. Y'all want to take another call?
Take it up there.
Take another call. Caller, you're live on the Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Jeff and Tom.
Well, they hung up. They didn't want to wait. But anyway, I appreciate both of you guys, Richie Hughes and Jeff Lovinggood, both in the studio. Great conversation. And any last words? Maybe what Ricky said or
I'll say this: we serve a great God, and we live in a great community. We got great people. I'm thankful to live here. I'm thankful that my kids are in these schools. And hey, it's Friday.
Oh.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. Fun Friday. The fact of it is, Richie and I both have lived in other communities. We lived in Dallas and Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Knoxville, Nashville for 14 years, and being back in Cleveland. It's fun. And a great community. We all walk with a limp. We don't all have it together, but the fact of it is we do have a great God who loves all of us. And obviously we got the things we should do because of our relationship with Christ. And it is good to be a part of friends like you, Tommy, and Richie, that we can do life together.
Yeah, let's don't forget Jeff. Jeff would be here too if he was
and
here.
Jeff Miller. Yeah, he's one of the greatest guys. He's
absolutely.
Is just to do life with each other and invest in each other and encourage each other.
All right, we got one more caller. Let's take one more caller. Caller, you're live on Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom.
Tom, I appreciate you taking my call, and I really enjoyed particularly the last part of this program.
All right, this is Edward.
All I can think of is a song that says, amen, amen, amen. I know you don't have that up, but that's what I've got to say to talking about prayer in the school and what's happening and how that the students can still pray and so forth and so on and all this. I just hear that song, amen, amen, amen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this program today.
Well, I appreciate it, Edward. Thank you so much for calling in. We'll talk to you Monday, okay?
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend.
All right. All right, you listen to Morning Jive with Jeff and Tom. We're going overtime. We're going out of here again. Guys, I appreciate you being in the studio. Appreciate you being on the panel. This has been a great, great show, and I do appreciate y'all. We couldn't have done it without you guys here, the input. We're going to carry it out of here with God Bless the USA.
Oh,
hey, anybody got Lee Greenwood
Come
here.
on.
All right, here we go.
By the way, I'm over to it.
If tomorrow and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
What's that smell? Wanda is a woman, she works down the hall, shows up on time, she like balls to the wall. She went out to lunch with her high school friends. About 3 hours later, she come rolling back in. Well, the boss man really jumped her. Sonny wasn't joking. Everybody in the office knew one had been smoking that old wacky tobacco. When you feel it creeping up on you, that old wacky tobacco. Kick back and let it do what it do. Now you can two-toke her, you can one-hit him, puff it in a pipe and you can twist it in a stem. You can bake it in some brownies, smoke it to a bone, roll up a great big fat one like old Cheech and Chong, burn it through a hole in a can of Budweiser. If you can't take the heat, son, vaporizer. That old wacky tobacco, when you feel it creeping up on you. That old wacky tobacco, kick back and let it do what it do. Now do what you do. Oh yeah. You got your Mexican and Jamaican with those buds of blue, Humboldt County and hydroponic too. Okeechobee purple from down in the south, and that old stuff your uncle